The Vapegate cover-up, plus more problems surfaced for the final experiment. Today we're going to touch on the Vapegate situation, and then we're going to look at some more clips, videos that have come from the final experiment, which again do not shine a good light on this pantomime, okay? But first up, the Vapegate. It does seem like there's a bit of a cover-up going on by certain individuals trying to sweep this under the carpet. If they're not trying to sweep it under the carpet, they're using leverage of another clip, which I never used, that certain individuals did, of Whitsitt crouching behind the bin or whatever. They're using that as a clip to try and give Whitsitt an out. No, lads, I didn't even use that clip. You've got to address the fact the man faked his breath. Whitsitt claims he had a drink in the container, that's what I've been told. If that was the case, he would have had to have held his breath all the way back to the bin, which is ridiculous. It would have been far easier to bring the drink with him and prove the point on screen in a practical fashion, not a shady fashion, but in a practical fashion by giving us a demonstration on screen proving the very point, rather than appearing off the camera in shady circumstances, blowing out a breath and a bit of moisture and then back to normal, having no breath. And of course, when we cross-referenced, we looked at the footage from another angle. It did, of course, look like on his way back to the camera stroke laptop, Whitsitt took a hit on the vape. And just in case anyone was in any doubt, reference Vapegate, Mr. Final Experiment himself, Will Duffy, has pretty much admitted that Whitsitt faked it. Essentially faked the environment. Will Duffy, as you can see here, has pretty much admitted it. He knew he had no choice because there's no get out for it. Doesn't matter, as I've highlighted, which avenue you turn, you always end up with dishonesty at play. So I think Will's seeing that that is the best route to go. The damage has been done and it only gets worse. Bear with me. So first up, I'm over at the Conscious Truth channel, and we got my mate Jaren here in Antarctica, supposedly about to give us a compass reading. Now what's strange about this is old matey boy here is holding the compass upside down. It's flipped, which is very strange. Look, I'm going to zoom in on the writing. It's back to front. The compass is flipped, and as a result, his readings will be wrong. What's this all about?
North, south, you see there? North and south. So supposedly that rock is north. And I actually drew this line. I don't know if you can see this line that says S.
Yeah, you're out. Totally out, Jaren. Strange. What's that all about? And why are you holding the compass upside down? Very strange stuff. You can come to your own conclusions about that clip. We'll move on. Now I'm over at No Fanfare's channel, and we got this short clip involving Will Duffy, Mr. Final Experiment himself, and he's having a conversation with a chap, I believe he's a flat earther, called Steve. And listen to this.
Will agreed that he would phone me between the hours of 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the morning, okay? Because then I would ask him to pick up his phone and he would be able to demonstrate and go and make sure that it was recording. And I could see, and there would be an independent verification who's not part of your gang, but independently go to say, yeah, gosh, I can see that. And if I can see that, my goodness, I'm going to be have to rethink a load of things. Will never phone me, okay? So I text.
Look. So Will had the perfect opportunity to ring this chap, give him independent verification while he was in Antarctica, and essentially blow this guy's mind away and make him have to rethink his whole belief system. And this was someone away from the group that are now being questioned that supposedly went to Antarctica. So this would have been the perfect opportunity for Will Duffy to have sold his final experiment for independent verification to this flat earther. But he didn't. It just keeps getting worse and worse. I mean, just a quick look at this video from Brian's Logic, Brian's attempting to cite this footage from Dave McKeegan as evidence that the Earth doesn't rotate. Well, we know that anyway, Brian. That's an obvious, demonstrable fact. Every pendulum tower crane tells us that. But you can't cite footage like this without having to address all the issues that relate to this footage. Vapegate, Will Duffy, the clip we've just seen, the independent verification which could have happened and blown Steve away but didn't. The avoidance of Vapegate, the pretty much admittance from Will Duffy himself that Austin faked the environment with his vape. And unfortunately, the next clip we're going to look at, which is using the very clip you've been citing, Brian, as evidence, again, it's not going to be able to be used as any kind of proof of anything, as we're about to see. This is all null and void, unfortunately. Even now, if they do address Vapegate, there's nothing they can say that's logical that makes them look favourable and honourable in their stance. There's nothing. It's done. And then you look at all the other stuff that's happened since and is continuing to happen. It's null and void, nothing. And I'm gutted. Nothing can be taken from the final experiment and used in any kind of scientific manner whatsoever. All of it is null and void. And Brian thinking he can use this clip, I'm going to show him something now, which again, null and void. Bear with me. And we'll finish up with this short clip from Anthony Bear, who's spotted issues regarding the sun on Dave McKeegan's footage. The sun at the start of the footage appears exactly, and I mean exactly the same as the sun at the end of the footage, as Anthony's about to explain.
Okay, here we are, Antarctica, 24 hours sun. Okay, look where the sun is right here in the beginning. So it starts like right there, next spot after that little V. Okay, now we're going to go around. Oh, there's that little V, and then it's about right here, 44 seconds. And it keeps going up to 48. So there's about a 4-second overlap. Okay, so let's do a nice slow side-by-side so we can compare them. Okay, let's ease up in here. Okay, now, see this little flare down here on the ground? Right there, look. That's the same. All right, the little flare coming out of the sun, that's the same. Okay, let's creep up a little more here. The flare disappears at the exact same time. All right, cruising along. The sun shrinks, that's funny. Now here's your little cloud coming up on the top. It's a lens flare. Looks like a cloud to me. If it was a lens flare, then it would be there all the time, right? Because it's following the sun. All right, so now there's a cloud. Look at it coming in real nice. Now look at the flare off the top of the sun. And then there's a little flare on the left side of the sun right there that's identical. Wow, pretty amazing. Let's cruise back. There's your flare. There's the one on the ground. Right there. What can you say?
Good question. What can you say? Well, it appears we've got the sun appearing exactly the same at 2 totally different times a day, essentially 24 hours apart. Like Anthony said, what can you say? Well, I'll tell you what you can say, Anthony. None of this final experiment can be taken seriously at this point in time. And neither can any of the participants. Sorry, it just is what it is. Have a good one, everyone.